Hey there, homeschool reading community. Welcome to this Facebook Live video about how to plan your homeschool week in 15 minutes or less. I am super excited to be here with you this week and to be talking about this topic. I know that homeschool planning can be super intimidating and sometimes it feels like it can take forever. And so today I want to share some simple strategies that you can do to set yourself up for needing to do a lot less planning. And then I want to share my really simple homeschool planning strategy with you. I'm really excited about this because this is something that really does just take me a few minutes a week. And so I want to share with you how I do it and what you can do to make homeschool planning so much easier for you as well. So I wanted to share just some quick tips about homeschool planning to be able to make it not take so long. So the first thing that I think is really important is that you want to set yourself up for success by choosing the right curriculum. And I think that the curriculum that you choose really is going to dictate how long homeschool planning takes for you and how easy it is to do your homeschool planning. The curriculum that you choose is really going to dictate how long it takes to do your homeschool planning. So some curriculum choices that you choose can make planning more difficult, and other curriculum choices can make planning a lot simpler and easier. And so I want to share what I look for as a teacher and as a homeschool parent who's been around the block to really choose a curriculum that makes homeschool planning easy. Because for me, that's one of the things that's important. I'm always looking, of course, for the content of the curriculum and how it fits with my kids' learning styles. But I'm also looking for a curriculum that isn't going to require hours and hours and hours from me as a parent to be able to figure out how to use this thing. Because what I've learned is that when I choose those curriculum choices that are so awesome, but they require so much planning, I've learned that I sometimes just won't do it. And then we won't end up using the curriculum and it'll just be wasted money and a wasted resource because I didn't plan and we didn't end up using it. If that has ever happened to you, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you have purchased a curriculum and then gotten into it and been like, I can't use this. I did this year actually with a spelling curriculum. I picked out this amazing spelling curriculum that looked like it was going to be so great. It came recommended to me from another family that uses it. And I kid you not, I have tried to read the directions at the beginning of this spelling curriculum like 5 different times, and I still don't know how to use this spelling curriculum. And I have a degree in education, and spelling I would consider one of my areas of expertise. But the directions for how to use this curriculum, no joke, are almost 100 pages. And I keep trying to read it, and it's not written to be entertaining, let's just say that. And so at some point I am sure that I will learn how to use this curriculum maybe, and we'll use it. I don't know. But it's not user friendly. And so I think that's something that's really important, is choosing a curriculum that is designed to be user friendly and easy to use for you. So one of the favorite things that I like to look for is a curriculum that's already organized by days. And I have some examples over here that I'm going to show you so I can show you exactly what I mean. So this year we are using the Bookshark and Sunlight curriculum. If you're familiar with these, they're very similar. Sunlight is the Christian version and Bookshark is the secular version, but they're very similar curriculums, and they're both based on using real books to teach subjects like history, to our kids. So this is our curriculum that we're using. This is the week that we're on. And if you can see this here, it says day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and it lists what pages we have to read. And I really like that because it's pretty much open and go. It tells me exactly what to read, and everything is organized by days. And so they've already done the work of taking a look at the book and figuring out how many pages are a reasonable amount to read during a day and putting it on there. And I know that I can always change the plan if I don't like it, or if my kids don't like a book, or if we're feeling like we're ahead or behind. We can work ahead or behind, but at least I have a starting point to work from, and that is really helpful. So that is a good thing for us whenever we're picking a curriculum is to choose one that's organized by days. I also really like, another thing that I like about this curriculum, did you notice it says day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but day 5 is blank? That's another thing that I really like about a curriculum is when it only includes 4 days per week, because I know that I tend to get stressed or concerned when I feel like we're behind. And I also really like to go do activities and things with my kids during the week. Sometimes my kids have appointments during the day that will prevent us from doing a homeschool day on a certain day. And I love when the curriculum only has 4 days per week, because that will allow me to have that flex day in there so that if we have an appointment or if the kids have an activity or if somebody gets sick, we are much less likely to get behind. If you check out the Reading Better Together curriculum, it's set up the same way. This is my reading curriculum that I have created to help homeschool parents teach their kids how to read in a way that aligns with the science of how reading works best in our kids' brains, and also to make the process fun for doing it together. And it is the same way. It's organized by days. So here we have week 1, day 1, and there's 4 days per week, and it tells you exactly what to do for each of the days. So if you can find a curriculum like that that's organized by day, that will seriously eliminate a lot of the planning. And if not, you have to go through this process of like, how many pages are there? How many days in the year are there? How many pages per day as an average does that make? Are we ahead? Are we behind? Where are we going to split it off for each day? And that's doable, but it's just something that adds a lot of time to the homeschool planning process. Another thing that I'm always looking for when I'm trying to find a curriculum that's easy to plan is something that has scripted lessons. So as a homeschool parent, I love scripted lessons because they tell you exactly what to say. So our science curriculum that we're using this year has these in it. So you open up to whatever, this science curriculum, by the way, is Science in the Berean Builders Elementary Science and History series. If you are looking for a science curriculum, I highly, highly recommend this. It's awesome. But one of the things that I like about it is that you open up to the lesson and there's some text and you read it out loud to your child. And that's the whole thing. You just read it out loud. And I love that because I am not an expert in science. I don't have a science degree. I did take some science in high school. I really like science. I enjoy science. My kids love science, but I am not a science expert. And so this book tells me everything that I need to know about science, and the only thing I have to do is read it to my kids. So my part in the process was to know my kids, to understand how my kids learn. I know that they love to be read to, and so that works really well for us. And they love science experiments, and there are plenty of those in there. And so I know that this curriculum is going to work for my kids, and I love to read to them. So that works for us because I don't have to be a science expert to be a really great science teacher for my kids. And the cool thing for us as homeschool parents and as teachers is that we know our kids. We can find curriculum that will work for how they learn. And then we don't have to be an expert in those subjects when you choose a curriculum that has scripted lessons. So again, going back to Reading Better Together, it works the same way. So hopefully you can see this in week 1, day 1. It tells you what to read. So it says, today we're going to learn our first 2 letter sounds. So you're going to read that out loud to your child. The first letter sound is It sounds just like the in the word mitten. So you're just reading all of the gray text out loud to your child, and it will teach them how to read. So I love this because it takes a really complicated subject like reading or like science and makes it really simple for us as homeschool parents to be able to teach our kids whenever the lessons are scripted. I also love that because my kids have really short attention spans. And so when I'm planning a lesson for them, I'm planning for 10, maybe 15 minutes, and I really want to maximize that lesson time and really make the most of every minute that we get. And so when I have a curriculum that's very scripted and that really tells me exactly what to do and what to say with each of those minutes, I feel like we're really maximizing the time that we're spending learning. We're not spending a lot of time where I'm paging around the book trying to figure out what's going on, and then the kids are getting distracted and disappearing off the couch and going off to play Legos. Let me know if that happens in your house too, or if it's just mine. But that's what happens in my house. So I love when the curriculum is very scripted and tells me what to do. And then I also love that whenever it tells me like things to avoid or warnings. Sometimes in the science curriculum with the experiments, especially, it'll tell you a little tip about how to make sure that the experiment works out. And I love those because it's like inside information. It's like having another science teacher right there beside you to help make sure that the curriculum is working. And Reading Better Together has those as well. So if you can see on this first page, there's a picture of what your child's mouth is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like this and not like this. And then there's a note. Make sure you and your child are saying not muh, because that's one of the most common problems when kids are learning new sounds, is that we'll add an additional part onto the end of the sound. But the problem is that when our kids start blending those sounds together, and when they're trying to blend that into the word mat, if they think in their head that the letter M says ma, then they're going to be trying to make the word ma'ata and not the word mat. And a ma'ata isn't a thing. And so it can add an extra wrinkle when it comes time for our kids to blend. But if you're just starting out teaching your child to read, you would have no way of knowing that. And so that's why I love when the curriculum is scripted and just has those extra little tips for parents alongside. Okay. So when you're choosing a curriculum, the more that you can choose that kind of a curriculum, the one that is divided up by days and that is scripted, the less planning you'll have to do. And when you get that kind of a curriculum, then you can do a super easy lesson plan. And so here's what I like to do. First of all, I like to plan my lessons once a week. I normally do it on the weekends. And I've tried all the different ways, and this is what I have settled on that really works for my family. You can let me know in the chat. Tell me how often you plan your lessons and how far in advance you do, because I know different homeschool families do it differently. I've tried planning for the whole year, and that has never worked for us because I am the kind of person that wants to finish everything on the plan. And I know that that's not always a good thing as a homeschool parent, because it's important to be flexible with our kids. But I've found that when I have spent hours planning out the entire year's lessons, then I struggle because I feel like we get behind and I don't know how to catch up. And so I start to maybe avoid opportunities that we would otherwise have to be able to do fun things, because I'm concerned that we aren't going to catch up to where we need to be in the plan that I arbitrarily created. So I like doing it for the week, because then if we get behind, I can just push those lessons into the next week. No big deal. I do take a look at the whole year at different points during the year, usually right around December, and then again sometime in March or April, to make sure that we are on pace to finish what I want to by the time the school year ends. But I don't plan those lessons out weeks and weeks and weeks in advance, because I don't want to mess up the plan and then get anxious or frustrated as a parent. I also make sure that I plan at least a week out, just because I know that for my family, the weekdays get really busy. And so if I wait and try to do my homeschool planning for the week the night before, there invariably is going to be a night where I'm just too tired and I'm like, meh, we'll do it the next day, and then it ends up not getting done. And it is really important to go into your homeschool day with a plan. So that is why we have settled on the weekly plan. And what I do, because we have a curriculum that is really very, very scripted and very like divided into lessons like we were talking about, is I don't do a lot of planning. So I have a planning notebook where I keep track of which lesson we're going to do each day. And then literally what I do is I put a sticky note on the front of the book with the page numbers or the lesson number. So I pulled these books out of our homeschool drawer. You can see it actually behind us. It's kind of a mess. But I have that drawer cart over there where we keep all of our curriculum organized, so everything's there. And then for the book, you can see I have the sticky note on the front with the lesson number that we're going to be doing next. And then usually I have a second sticky note that's actually bookmarking whatever the lesson is that we're going to be doing. So that is the sum total of the planning. So what I will do is I will, in my plan book, I'll have written down, Wednesday, lesson 48. And so then I'll just have the sticky note on the front and the sticky note on the inside. And then I will have looked at this lesson really briefly over the weekend just to make sure that there's not like funky materials that we need for the science experiment. This one needed a balloon, but we had a balloon, so we were good to go. and there was nothing that needed to be planned ahead. We just kind of read through the lesson, did the experiment, and then at the end of today, what I will do is cross out lesson 48 and rewrite the new lesson for tomorrow, scoot the sticky note, and we're done. This is another one. This is part of the history curriculum that we're using, and this particular one, this is the llama who had no pajama. This is a really cute poetry book that I'm reading through with my kids, and they're really loving that. But this one has a sticky note on the front with page numbers, and I just have been crossing those out and rewriting the new page numbers for the day. And then inside I have those pages bookmarked as well. So that's like the total of the homeschool planning method is there's a bookmark on the front with the page numbers and then a bookmark inside with the things. And then if there's any kind of like particular thing that I want to make sure that we talk about as it relates to those pages when we get to them, like with the poems, if there was something that I wanted to make sure that I remembered to share with my kids, I might just scribble that on the bookmark on the inside as well. So then we just have our stack of books that we're kind of working our way through, and every one of them is bookmarked with the bookmark on the front and the bookmark on the inside, just so we know where we're going next. So that's the whole system, and it really doesn't take very long over the weekend to just go through and write out which lessons we're going to be working on, which page numbers we're going to be working on, what we're going to be doing for the different subjects, and then to mark any of the books that we're going to be using with the materials. If we were going to do sort of a more hands-on activity that didn't require a book, then I might take one of the drawers in the cart over here and just put all the supplies in there for that activity. And that is the 10 to 15 minutes a week. So hopefully that was helpful in giving you some things to think about for homeschool planning. The other thing that I do is at the end of the day, I'll just take 5 or 10 minutes and look over the books and make sure that we know what we're doing for the next day. So, but with the planning during the weekend, that usually doesn't take very long. So hopefully this was helpful. I put a link in the description of the video to where you can get on the wait list for Reading Better Together if you are interested in that. I know there are some parents who are waiting for the doors to open to the curriculum again so that they can get in. And so if that is you and you are one of those people, make sure that you click that link and add your email there to get on the wait list. Some exciting things are going to be happening for the people on the wait list coming up really soon. And so I just want to make sure that if you're one of those people that has been waiting, that you get on the wait list. I have a really exciting bonus that I'm going to be offering when the curriculum is available that is only going to be available to people who are on the wait list. So it's something that it's brand new for this time, and it's something that I've been waiting to be able to offer. And it's something, honestly, that it's personalized, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to offer it to everyone that purchases the curriculum this time, but I want to be able to offer it to everyone who's on the VIP list. So make sure that you get on the list if that's something that you're interested in. And let's see, there's something else I wanted to say too. Oh, I know. So next week we are going to talk about what to do when you're feeling like you're not qualified to teach your child to read. This is one of the most common things that I hear from parents who are wanting to get started with teaching reading in their homeschool. They feel like there are just too many weird rules in the English language. There's too many words that don't follow the rules. There's too many moving parts in the process, and they just aren't sure where to start. So if that's you, I'm going to be in the group at 3 o'clock Eastern again next Wednesday, and I'm going to be talking about how you can be a better teacher for your child than those reading experts are. And I'm going to be talking about some ways that you're uniquely qualified and how to really use your strengths as your child's parent to help you be a better reading teacher for them, even than those experts. And so I'm really excited to share that with you. I hope that you'll be back next week, Wednesday, to join me. So thanks everybody. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you enjoyed the kind of behind the scenes peek at how we homeschool plan, or not so much, as the case may be. And definitely share any questions or comments that you have about homeschool planning in the chat. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great week. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this video, which was recorded live in the Homeschool Reading Community Group. This is a free Facebook group where I share tips and advice about homeschooling and teaching reading. You'll also find community with other homeschool moms like you, plus freebies, giveaways, parties, and more. I would love for you to join us over at the Homeschool Reading Community. Make sure that you check out the link in the description of this video for all the details.